Welcome to the Meditation Conversation, the podcast to support your spiritual revolution. I'm your host, Kara Goodwin, and I was so excited to sit down with Sigmar Berg in this episode to talk about his Love Tuner initiative, which helps you easily access the 528 Hertz frequency. It's so exciting how much humanity is embracing the fundamental importance of sound, and I love seeing these innovative and yet simple products that are helping people to connect with frequencies in their everyday lives. I know you're going to enjoy Sigmar's relaxing and anchored vibe as you listen as much as I did while we were recording. Sigmar Berg is an Australian-American entrepreneur, artist, photographer, and fashion designer. He's the creator of Love Tuner, a mindfulness tool that transmits the frequency of 528 Hertz, known as the frequency of love and divine healing. Sigmar has had a successful career and social life that he left behind to experience a spiritual awakening, which led him to his divine mission of love and creating the Love Tuner. And in this episode, you'll hear me talk about my own experience with Love Tuner, and I'd love for you to experience it for yourself. After we recorded this episode, I took the opportunity to partner with Love Tuner so you can use my affiliate link and discount code. Check the show notes to get your discount and experience the love vibration for yourself. I have sometimes timed my exhales with Love Tuner, and I've been getting to about 30 seconds per breath. So if you do the same, I'd love to hear from you about your experience as you connect more consciously with your own breath. And now, enjoy this episode. So welcome, Sigmar. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Hi, Kara. Great being on your show.
So let's start by talking about your journey and what led you from your previous existence on this earth, let's say, and becoming to be the creator of Love Tuner.
Yeah, so my journey started as we all you go through your childhood, your teenage years. And I think on a pretty early stage in my life, I became conscious about breathing and also just the fact that there's more out there than what we just see and what we experience. And I think this curiosity later in my life became more and more. And at one point I was in a lucky position to make this basically my life, raising consciousness, raising vibration. But obviously, if you don't go through such a transition, what I did, it also changes the personal life.
So what was that transition like for you?
For me, it was I started meditating a couple of years before I even started with Love Tuner and made this my business. But it was just like a conscious living. So I was in the fashion industry before I was an architect. And so I was always involved with, aesthetic stuff, creating stuff. But also had the consciousness about sustainability. So all my fashion brands have been based on organic materials, giving back. We refurbished a lot of materials. So there was always this component about, more than just creating profit, just thinking in terms of communities, thinking about saving our planet. So, and I think this is already, in my opinion, raising consciousness, because, and this is when we talk about mindfulness, I do not necessarily agree with that you need to be holy to be mindful. It's just the way you interact, the way you act with people, the way you run businesses. I think there's so much room for mindfulness, how you engage, with your friends, with your family, in general. I think that's important when it comes to mindfulness. And I think this happened early, and then later on, there comes really a big spiritual component, because when you go into meditation and then later on, what we do with love tuning, conscious breathing break, arriving in the here and now, and also understanding what it means, to invite love in your life as a spiritual energy, to understand what gratitude means and all those things. I think this is what actually elevated me and pursued me on this way of, starting a new business and literally having this mission. And as Love Tuner is not only a product, it's a very mission-based. We have our own foundation. This is where we spend most of our time in the early years, supporting school programs, working with veterans and just seeing everywhere where mindfulness, breath work, sound healing can elevate, some people's life, can strengthen community. And this is literally the way that I pursued with Love Tuner. And now we are so many years into it. I wrote a book about it last year. So the early stages of love tuning, what explains the whole frequency component about solfeggio frequencies. And then, we launched a coaching program. So it goes really into community work on a high conscious level. And it's literally our aim, and my aim personally is literally to spread love and bring people together, in loving togetherness, and build these communities again that we all need, and overcome this separation, because we are more the same than we are separated. And I think if we carve this out with love, that's just what it is. And it sounds so trivial because everyone says, oh, talking about love, this is so hippie-esque, but it's really what it is. It's like this, we all need or could need more love. We also can spread more love, if we let this light in, if we, exhale love, it's a beautiful thing. And if you start doing this consciously, I think it elevates yourself and the people around you and your own higher vibration. You see how it helps you, it sees how more beautiful life experiences you have. And even, we all have bad days, and today's a Monday, who knows where Monday goes, but it always depends on your own vibration, how do you deal with it? And I think this was my early stage not in spirituality, but integrating it, to become really aware of it, that when you sit in your car and you swear and you are upset that this does something to your negative vibration, or you sit in and go like, hey, listen, I'm in this situation, I'm late in my car, some stuff is not going my way, but it's up to me how I react to this, And I think it's this practical component of you want to call it meditation, you want to call it spiritual hygiene, but that's what it is, to interrupt our brain that is firing whatever, 10,000, 75,000 thoughts a day, to just get this moment of, hey, I disconnect. I'm aware about my situation. I'm aware about my own frequency, how I feel in this state, and I have the ability to change it. And I was thinking, and this gives you personal freedom. And it will also help us to de-escalate misunderstandings in families, in schoolrooms, in corporations. It's just like to understand that this other person is just also a living being. And sometimes we are tied up in our heads too much. And this is what causes conflict. If we go on a heart level, because our hearts are always curious, they always want to connect. And if we understand in our spiritual practice to get out of your head into your heart, you can connect on a different level. And I think this is basically, it became my journey, but it's also the message that we deliver with Love Tuner.
I love it. So let's talk about Love Tuner. We've talked around it in terms of some of the concepts that went into its creation. Talk about what it is and how people can use it to tune into the love vibration and raise their frequency.
So I wear it around my neck here. It's like this little.
Yes, I've got one here.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
So that's what it is.
Amazing.
It comes in a little, but here, like gift box, and you separate it from the cap, and then you have the actual flute. And this flute is calibrated to 528 Hertz. You do a conscious breathing break. I can try to do it now on Zoom, but sometimes it doesn't pick up the frequency. But what you do, you inhale, you exhale through the tuner, you try to extend your exhale as long as you can, and you make like whatever, a medium loud tone, not too loud, just that you can hear it, because it gives you a perfect feedback on your exhale. So what it does, it literally, gives you a feedback on your breath work. The tone, the frequency connects you to 528 Hertz, and then is a physical reaction in your body. So this frequency, for example, aligns water molecules in your body. When you look at it under the microscope, and you have water and you play this tone on it, you will see that the water restructures in the original hexagonal crystal shape. So like pure spring water. And this does the same thing to our body. And as we are like over 70% water, our blood is 91% water. So it has a very strong reaction to our human system. So this is the physical thing. And then on the spiritual thing, you connect to the cosmic frequency of love. And that was the love frequency of 528 Hertz is referred to. So I'll show it real quick. I don't know if it picks up the tone.
It got a little bit right at the beginning.
Yeah. So this is basically what you do. You do a conscious breathing break. You do it like 6 times is what we recommend. And depending on your lung volume, you should try it at least 15 seconds and then go more and more. We have people that are tuning over 1 minute in one exhale. It's a really powerful breath work on top of it. And it strengthens your lung volume. It helps you to build a stronger immune system. But the key to it is like literally not to have any expectation, like same thing like with meditation. Don't go in there and go like, you're going to meet God in the first 5 minutes. It's a process where you really need to trust in yourself and you need to trust, in the higher powers. And this is where it will guide you. But if you stay with it, it literally retunes you, it recalibrates you, it helps you instantly with stress and anxiety. And yeah, it's this little helper that you have around your neck. And every time something comes up where you go like, oh, life is hitting me hard right now, do a tune and just, carry on in a better state of mind.
I love having the audio to go with the breath work, because what's so interesting with sound as a sort of hack in quotes, is that our body responds so instantaneously. The energy layers within us respond so spontaneously or so immediately to sound, because we are energy and it is pure energy. It's pure vibration. So it's kind of this, the knowing that the love tuner is attuned to 528 kind of intellectually allows you to connect like, okay, I'm choosing now the 528 frequency, the frequency of love. But then by using the breath, which has this physiological kind of cause and effect relationship with the body and with our ability to kind of cut through our thoughts. So it has that physiological side, but then also because we are hearing and in that resonant vibration of 528 through breathing into it, then we have that response within our energy fields where it's just harmonizing with the 528 too. So it's really like a multi-layered effect and potential within it, which is really beautiful.
Yeah, like, it has all those benefits and it does all this, what you just described. And if you want to experience this, you're literally forced to do a sound bath and breath work, and you cannot do it anywhere like at the same time. So it cuts out way more time. And it's not like, as we said earlier, I always recommend people to really stay with the spiritual hygiene, not to shortcut it. But sometimes it's a nice thing to have something that works instantly anywhere where you are. You don't have to like, make a setup for a sound bath. You don't have to be prepared for breathwork. It's just a little stuff that you can do, even in a corporate setting. You go outside, life is catching up to you. You go outside before you have your coffee, you tune, whatever you want to do, but you can do it. You can do it in the car. You can do it before you do yoga. And what I always encourage people, do it with your family. It's a beautiful thing. It's like a connecting in the sound carpet. And this is also, if you do it in groups, you connect on 528 Hertz. So you connect into the sound carpet. And that's a beautiful experience on a group basis. Like, if it's in a corporate setting where teams are doing it together, or as I said, couples, families, schools, like it's powerful because it connects on the sound frequency.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Let's talk about that specific frequency, 528. Why is 528 so powerful? Where has that frequency come from?
Yeah, there's a long story to it where it got even discovered as a healing frequency. So the first recorded, reports that we have, it's called Gregorian. The Gregorian choirs, they have been chanting on 528 hertz, and they are still available. I think you can even buy those chants. And the interesting thing is they healed entire communities. So it was known, people came in and the monks have been chanting and it helped people to heal. And interesting enough was that back in the days, 528 hertz was not uh, a forgotten note. It was our C note. It was the regular C note on the musical scale. And then it went all the way through the medieval, and even Mozart and classic composers have been still composing in 528 hertz. And there's a book out from Emoto. I don't know if you know this
Mhm.
book. It's about the hidden messages in water. And
Mhm.
he tested several, even like speaking to water, like cursing to water, saying words like love and gratitude, or even playing classical, like harmonic music. And this is how water reacts to it. And this is the same thing what we did. And in the medieval was the church actually the first time that interfered with the frequency and said they don't like this anymore. They forbid back then the Gregorian choirs to chant in this frequency. Later on, our entire musical scale got readjusted, the A tone, and this is why 528 literally disappeared. But it was a C tone because music was in harmony and music was healing over many, many centuries. So this is nothing that we invented, 520 hertz. It's a cosmic frequency. It occurs in every living matter. It comes in the humming of the bees when they're pollinating. It has the frequency in all plants. So if you put a plant amplifier onto a leaf, it has 520 hertz. And the reason chlorophyll is green is because on the light spectrum, 528 hertz has the color green. So it's a very, very interesting, powerful frequency. And I think that makes it so beautiful because it's nothing what is man-made. It's literally, when you want to, they call it also the miracle of the divine frequency. So, and I know that frequency healing, when we started, for example, was very woo-woo and people didn't believe in it. Now we have so much science out there that everything is frequency and everything is vibration. And we constantly react to frequency and vibration. And we are very aware of what is a bad frequency. So when we go out and we have street noise or, the so-called thing on the chalkboard, all those noises that really, really, make us uncomfy. But when something can make you uncomfy, then frequency can make you very comfortable. So I think it's a conscious decision to really understand that everything is frequency and everything is vibration. And I remember like my grandmother, I'm Austrian, and we had a lot of the so-called old healing remedies, and there was a lot of knowledge. And I remember my grandmother, every time when we had something going on, the first thing she said, take a breath. It was the first thing to even make you, allow oxygen in your brain and just calm down. And the next thing what she did, when we have the little children, she started humming and just hold you because she was the resonance. And that's literally very comfortable for humans in general. We like these kind of sounds. And I encourage all the time people to go out and spend more time in nature, because in nature, you have sounds that are really healing. And you have vibration, which are really healing. Take your shoes off, hug a tree, and really feel this vibration and don't feel awkward, and I have done it with many people that would have never thought they ever hug a tree in their life. And, and yeah, and it changed their life, and it's not that you have to run around and tell everyone you're a tree hugger, but it's just this understanding about frequency and vibration and about consciously knowing what is a good vibration, what is a bad vibration. We all have it next to us. That's a bad one. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But it makes our life so comfortable, but we need to be aware of it. Like when people tell you already, oh, you get a headache from your phone, maybe there's something what is not good for you. And this is just like this balance of frequency, of conscious decision, what is in harmony with me and what is in dissonance. And the 528 is just a frequency that makes it very easy. There's a lot of different frequencies out there on the Solfaccio frequency scale. One is like for pain and so on and so on. But the 528, as it's love, as it's the highest frequency, not on the frequency tone, but on an emotional state, it's the highest frequency we can have. It's higher than gratitude. It's the ultimate highest emotion you can gravitate towards it. And we all know that anger, for example, that, sadness, grief, that's very low energy, very low frequency. And so you will always run into lags of frequency to your daily life. It's just what happens. But just at least go back and be aware of it. And when you feel down, when your frequency is low, do stuff, that brings it up again, and like, don't do the next thing, like when you have been all day working, being all day on the phone, maybe TV is not the right thing to do at this point. There's maybe something else, like maybe sometimes silence is great, and I think this is what we just need to understand. And I think a lot of people are already waking up to this and getting more aware of it. Some people will always make fun about it, but like it's what brings us together. And I always say, if some people go on the spiritual journey, it's not about thinking about the collective right away. This happens anyway. But if you tune yourself, whatever modality you use, into a happier being, then, you're already golden.
Mm. I love that. There are a lot of things that you mentioned there that I want to expand on, and we'll see how many I can remember. But but
Sorry.
no, it was wonderful. But it's like when you talk about kind of the frequencies that are helpful versus the bombardment of sound and noise that we have in modern living, and how that affects us, that cumulative effect of just the bombardment of noises. And it made me think about something that kind of bothers me in my neighborhood. But our houses are very close together, and the yard tools, there will be lawn crews that come, and they have these big industrial like blowers. So
Yeah.
every day you're just hearing, and it can be several houses away, but they're so loud. It's this, and it's just coming and going every day.
Yeah.
And I feel just this invasion of sound where it really feels like, no, I don't want this. Like, I don't want that pitch, that level of volume, all of those things. Um, but that's one of the things that I really enjoy about Love Tuner, is that it is this thing where you can just stop. I can be sitting outside and then notice the sounds from the gardening, motorized equipment come in, and take those nice long 6 breaths with that frequency. And it's sort of like bathing, or like recalibrating, reconfiguring my energy that feels like it's been violated in a way, Um, but to help me to reset, because we've got the breath that helps to automatically do that shift physiologically. But then also from a sound perspective, it's almost like enabling a repair to happen when it's like this exposure to the really monster sounds that we have. And also, areas of the home where energy might feel a little bit stagnant. So I went into a room today, and like the blinds were closed, and it just seemed kind of dark. So I opened the blinds, and I was just kind of speaking to get the energy moving in it. But I just had that thought while you were talking about that of like, I want to go into this room and just do some breaths in there and let that build, like let the 528, just kind of the layers of the 528 build in that space and help to just reinvigorate it a little bit. But it's really powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what you just said about, for example, like energizing a room, that's like by just like letting air in, letting light in, and then, whatever you do, like chanting, saging, or tuning, it really shifts energy in rooms. And also, like when you have discussions in an office, it's always important to literally try to air out, change the energy, do something about it. And it's not HPS, it's just our normal response to bad frequency, to bad energy. And it's a very easy thing to make it nicer for people because at the end of the day, all corporations want to be more successful. So you have people in a better environment, in a better energy. They're also more productive and they're happier. And that's what we all want to strive towards. It's like we should really think as one common. And this is like what frequency spirituality does anyway, to understand at one point that everything is connected. All is one and one is all. There is no separation. And no matter how hard you try, that you are like smarter, better, whatever people think, like, and also there comes this so-called like spiritual ego, what in my opinion is the worst thing that can ever happen, because some people are not conscious, they're doing stuff which obviously is not conscious. But if you raise your consciousness, you need to really understand that it's all inclusive. There is no separation. And there's no people who meditate better and some people who don't meditate. That's complete nonsense. It's just like, if you do something positive for yourself, it will reflect in the collectiveness. And the more awareness people bring to their own lives, like by sharing it with people, it's like, I always say, like, you turn on one light and you tune in one heart and then the other happens. And this is how we all connect. And this is where we want to go. And I necessarily don't care how people go to this state. And this is what we said very early, is like, meditation was one thing that was so focused on a certain meditative routine. Meanwhile, we know there's so many modalities how you can reach this state of mind, or the state of no mind, actually, because this is where we want to be for a little while. And I think that's exactly where entire mindfulness movers should gravitate towards, like thinking about your own frequency, your own vibration, how you can get out of this. Because if you're not in a good mood, if you're angry, obviously you're in resonance with anger, with being upset, and then you are no good for the collectiveness anyway.
Hmm. So what do you do if you find yourself and you recognize that you're not in the state that you want to be in? What are some things that you do? Because I know you're absolutely right. It's like, as we're on this journey of increasing our awareness, when we're in a great mood, when things are going well and just swimming along, it can be easier to tune into like, okay, my vibrations where I want it, or I'm going to shift higher or whatever. But when we get triggered, or when life just comes at us and we maybe feel like we have to be defensive, or something just innately angers us or whatever it might be, it can catch us unaware when we're really in it, right? So
Yeah.
part of it's just recognizing, like, wait a minute, what is even happening here? But please, if you have some tips of how people can catch themselves and change.
Yeah, like I always talk about authenticity, and I think in any reaction you need to be authentic. And if you're not authentic to your reaction, then it even gets worse. So we meditate, we try to be as mindful as we can, but it does not mean to have an unauthentic reaction. If something pisses you off, swear. You know what I mean? If you're already that far out that you don't have to swear and you can get rid of it, that's even better. But the worst thing, what we all try to do is like to be whatever, Jesus. We aren't, we are here, we are, humans, we have this experience in this body right now, and this is how we react. So be authentic, and no matter what reaction you have. Obviously, when you catch yourself that you go too far and you're mindful, then you have those tools in place that you can override whatever comes up. But don't be fake to yourself, because that's not your vibe. Don't pretend to be someone else. Don't have like the worst thing in your life comes up to you and you still go like, well, it could be way worse. No, it can't be. You're totally pissed. Just say what you want to say. You're pissed right now, but then have another attitude towards it. This is what I think. So what I want to say long story short is basically, I have also these moments, I have human reactions, but I have a tool that helps me, and this is the most important thing, that is not one negative thought releases the other one, and then it goes in a downward spiral. At one point, yeah, we got it. You're upset. Okay. You got yourself air, but now work on it to make it okay for yourself, because automatically it will make it okay for everybody involved. And this is where we should strive through. So have an authentic reaction to a certain degree, but have, tools in place that can help you, because no one else will help you. And when you go out, and I'm not like, bad talking therapist or whatever, but if you constantly, repeat your problem, it really becomes a big problem. And that's what it is, like, yes, get rid of it, let it out, tell everyone how upset you are to a certain degree, but then shift, don't, don't stay in this state of mind, because what it will do is like, this becomes your frequency, and this becomes also your resonance. And that's what it is. And you don't want to have more of this. So raise your frequency, whatever it takes for you in the moment, have your reaction, then, collect yourself and do whatever helps you to go to another vibrational state, and then you will have a different resonance.
I love that. I completely agree. It can be easy to, when you, especially I think in the early times of awakening, depending on where you are in your journey, but where we feel like, oh, I need to be high vibe all the time. And so I can't be angry. I can't be sad. I can't react if I get triggered. I've got to pretend that even though I'm seething, that I am okay. I'm Gandhi. Um, because it doesn't mean that it goes away. It's not like if we don't identify with the true feelings that come up, that we actually have mastered them. It's like, no, we're actually just hiding them. And we may even be hiding them from ourselves, not just from the outer world, but they are part of our energy field. And there's that illusion part of it as well, where we're not being authentic, which is another layer of it. But the importance of not holding onto it, not carrying it, letting it be that authentic reaction or thought as we're processing what's going on, and then not living in that, because it can be really easy to get triggered and then just continue to tell yourself the story of what happened. And can you believe that happened? And how dare they do this? And then we're living from that place that we can't believe this has happened to us. And we, like you say, we may want to tell everybody and then repeat this story over and over again and get ourselves worked up again. So I think that's where the maturity and the finesse comes into it, which is, having the authenticity and then allowing the narrative to change, like, this doesn't have to be the end of the story. Let's see what's here for me to learn. What are the treasures that are within this experience that I had, and be ready to let it go and to release it.
Yeah. And like, yeah, as you said, how far you are on your personal journey. I mean, at one point when you recognize, and whatever you call it, the source, God, when you have, and I'm not talking about believing, if you feel the truth to something, you also understand that you cannot fall deeper than into God's hands. There's something out there that holds you. And otherwise, what we do would be completely senseless. It would make no sense, And this is like, this fear needs to go. You need to know that everyone is God's child, no matter what. and you feel always safety there because we came alone into this world. We're gonna leave alone. We have this experience in between, but nobody has the power to live your life. You know what I mean? And and this is why what I often see, even on spiritual journeys, that people are getting, they want to be connected to life, but what really happens is the disconnect to life, like because you just pick a certain part of life that you can handle and everything else, you don't want to have anything to do with it. But that's not what we are here for. We have this full spectrum, and based on our frequency, we will have more and more experiences, and obviously life always gonna throw something your way. And if you don't believe in the flow, life will break you because you cannot hold into the nicest experience. You cannot hold on to whatever the most beautiful day. It just passes. And when you trust in the flow and what God has to offer for you, then like you get out on one hand, you get out of your comfort zone because you do stuff what is not routine and what is not totally protected. You do stuff that really comes from your heart, what you really feel. You're way more outspoken, you react differently, but also you get you get rid of this fear, of this constant fear, because there is no fear. What are we really fearing of? And what we should be scared of the most is our own inner world, because that's the scary part. And, and yeah, like it's, the humans made this world to what it is. And I think we are a lot of them here. And if we really connect on a human, on a heartfelt level, we are way more powerful. We can shift things, like we can shift the energies, our planet is doing it already, like the Earth's frequency is raising up in the last couple of years like the never before. So we see so many disconnected people because they just cannot, balance this extreme energy, what is out there. And it's basically the planet's telling us, get up your ass, and help us all collectively to raise our energy and our frequency. And this can only happen if we connect, it happens individually, but it always needs to happen in the collectiveness as well.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Well, Sigmar, how can people find out more about Love Tuner and about you?
So like, as I said, I wrote this book. It's called One Journey. I have a copy here. It's called One Journey, and it's published by Waterside Publications. It's available on Amazon, and it has obviously a little bit of biography in there, but it really tells you basically on a daily basis how you can integrate vibrational healing, breath work, and frequencies in general in your daily life. So that's the biggest message. And then it goes into spiritual laws. It goes a little bit into stuff what I experienced by channeling a certain energy. So I have some other wisdom in there for some advanced people that are interested. And I also tell people to hug trees.
Oh, I love it. And how can people get their hands on a Love Tuner?
We are selling it online at lovetuner.com. So that's the easiest. We also have like some brick and mortar store, but lovetuner.com, that's where you get it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I've loved this discussion. It's been so filling of my heart. I'm feeling that 528. So thank you so much for your time, Sigmar. Pleasure having you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Meditation Conversation. I'd be so grateful if you would share this episode with someone in your life who would appreciate it. Your sharing helps build momentum and make high vibrational content such as this more accessible and easier to find. I'd also be so grateful for you to subscribe to this content. Thank you so much for your support, and I look forward to the next meditation conversation.